how we do this.
And we're live. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to this little mini podcast we got going on. I got a special guest with me, Mr. Andrew, who's one of the agents in our agency. He's a financial coach and expert. He's a money guru, right? Cash flow. What's your title on Instagram? Cash growth coach. So you must be helping people grow a lot of cash to have that handle on Instagram, huh? But I appreciate you being live with us today, man. It's an honor to be in business with you. It's an honor to get to know you over the last year or two. And I'm excited to do this little live, man. So give us a quick rundown, man. Tell us who you are, where you're hailing from, and what your favorite type of coffee is. Do you like coffee, or are you like a Red Bull guy?
Oh, right to the rocket fuel. Absolutely. Red Bull, C4. At the gym, not at the gym, whatever, Yeah, coffee puts me to sleep. That's like my chamomile tea. Yeah.
So no coffee, just like straight.
Don't suggest that,
yeah. Yeah. Are you like one of those guys that does pre-workout just by the powder? You just dump it in your mouth and then just freaking go? Is that you?
Yep, that's it. No, I haven't quite graduated to that level yet. I got a couple kids I need to stick around for. So that's like the graduate class of caffeine intake.
Oh, man, that's wild. Those guys kill me when they do that, man. So, but anyway, listen, let's talk a little bit money. Let's talk a little bit of some cash growth strategies. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on in the current market, the situation at hand. There's a lot of instability right now, a lot of craziness going on. And people are freaking out. Now, I'm in Texas. I know you're in Vegas. What's it look like? What are people's vibe as you're talking to people? Because you're in the business world as well, and you do financial services kind of on a part-time, almost full-time basis as well. But what are some of the things that you're sensing or even hearing from maybe some of your clients over the last 72 hours, man? It's been a wild ride. Talk to me a little bit about that. What do you got going on?
Yeah. So, right now it just depends. I have a lot of people that have obviously been concerned with the market. It really depends on the age and demographic that I'm talking to, right? Like the younger folks are obviously more ambitious. They have a lot more time to ride out any fluctuations, any corrections, crashes in the market. So they're not always as worried. I think they're more worried about maximizing their money at this point. They're like not so much concerned about the risk. They're just like, what can I do so that I don't have to keep working this job I've been in for like the last 5 to 10 years because I've started to hate it. And so all these people that are, coming out of college, maybe they're in their 30s or early 40s, they're like, there's so much more to life. I can't keep doing this. Like, what do I need to do? Am I putting this in real estate? I see a bunch of stuff on the internet for real estate. I see, do I need to get a side hustle? Do I need to do drop shipping? Have the faceless Instagram pages? Like, how do I maximize my time and money? So that's the obsession with the younger group.
Yeah, so much to do. There's so many different things out there. A lot of gurus, right? You got the gurus telling you, put your money in stocks, put your money in crypto, put your money in Forex, do real estate. And these guys are focusing on one specific area. And they're saying, it's almost like they're saying, if you don't do this, you're going to fail. But we know that that's just one of many different ways that you can grow your wealth and you can have something substantial to rely on later on down the road, right? The average retirement is pennies right now. Have you looked at the median average 401k over the last 10, 15 years? Do you know what that number is?
I think it's around 88,000
or something.
It's like under
100,000. Yeah.
And the average is the average was around $250,000, I believe. But the average can be dangerous because you want to take it based on the true middle for the most part, because the average is going to take the extreme highs and extreme lows, but the median is going to give you more of an accurate pinpoint of where most Americans are at. And that is just shy of 90 grand, I believe. So
yeah,
it's not good.
55 to 64. The average right now is about 240,000, but the median is about $87,000 across the board.
Nice.
And that's for a 64-year-old getting ready to retire. 88,000 for a 65-year-old. Let me ask you one question, Andrew. Do you think you can retire on $88,000 in your 401k?
No, absolutely not, bro. I mean, not out here. You can't even live right now working for that much money, man. If you're a single earner and that's all you're making, like that's not good enough, unfortunately.
No. We've met people because we're in the financial services industry. We've met people over the last couple of years that they're in their 60s and they only have $100,000 in their 401k. I've met several people that have worked for 30 years for the same company. And unfortunately, they didn't give into a 401k the whole entire time. They only did it for like half the time or a quarter of the time that they worked for this company because for one or more reason, they just needed the money in their paycheck versus putting it in a retirement account. And so they really put a nail in their foot for retirement. They're trying to retire in a couple of years and they only have 100, 200,000, 300,000. Wait, and it continues. I've seen people with 500,000, but they're only able to live on $20,000 retirement income out of that 500,000, right? If you have $1 million right now, Andrew, talk to me about $1 million. You think $1 million is enough to retire right now?
No, I mean, it's better than the average, right? Like you're in better shape than probably 90% of the population. But I would say,
of course.
You're obviously in a 401k, the tax deferred, you're going to want to follow most likely some sort of guidance plan, like a 4% rule. Now there's a lot of intricacies in the 4% rule. It's not just plain, black and white, like a lot of people make it sound, but typically advisors will set these up so that you're living on enough to provide for you, but not enough to run out of money before you pass away. That's always the goal, but that's also the number one fear of people with 401ks is like, I hope I don't outlive my money. So 4% of that would be roughly 40 grand a year, which to me is not enough at all. But then to some it might be, but then you also have to take into account now you're paying taxes. So you're going to be at a lower tax bracket because you're retired. So you're in a lower tax bracket automatically, but the general tax rate in the country, the question is, Mark, is the taxes going to be higher or lower in the future? It's hard to tell, but if 9 times out of 10, if you ask somebody that question, they're going to say, well, they're going to be higher. So now you're choosing to take your taxes later when you just said they're going to be higher. You know what I mean? So it is tough because you need millions, and hardly anybody has millions in their 401k.
I've met maybe on one hand, I can count people who have had multiple millions of dollars in their 401k. And if they did, they were making $200,000 a year, for 15, 20 years, right? They were above average. They were the 1%, right? Recent studies have been done. They've re-examined this 4% rule, and the new safe rate of taking money out of your retirement is as low as, well, there are some examples as low as 2%, but right now it's about 3 to 3.5%. And that's to ensure the longevity of your retirement so that you don't run out of money during those. Let's just imagine you retire at 65, maybe 68, right? The average lifespan is a little longer than it was 30 years ago. We're living a little longer because of modern medication technology and Elon Musk, right? He's doing things to prolong life, right?
Yeah.
So let's say we live until my grandmother passed away at 90. I got a mother-in-law that's alive right now. She's 93, maybe. I think she's 93 years old, right? So let's say we live from 65, 75, 85. We're living for another 15 years, maybe, maybe another 20 years.
Yeah.
We're not going to be able to live on that 20 years on that $38,000 a year because the cost of goods is going to keep going up. Inflation is going to keep going up. Everything's going to adjust up except for that 4% in our portfolio that we have to live by, right? And so it's a scary place to be if you don't have millions of dollars in your 401k. I don't know what people are going to do. I really don't. See, we're coming onto the cusp right now of the greatest wealth transfer that we have ever experienced in modern times, because the 401k was created in the 70s, right?
Right.
We're merging on that 30 to 40 year mark where people are going to start cashing out their 401ks, and that money is going to go into different hands, right? The retirement money is going to get paid out, and when people pass away, it's going to get paid out to the beneficiary. So the greatest transfer of wealth in history is about to happen, and has already started happening, but it's probably going to happen for the next 5 to 10 years. What are some things that you're hearing about? Because you're in the financial services industry. You deal with alternative ways to protect, preserve, and grow your money, right? We had a conversation before we jumped on this little cast about securities, investing in the stock market, real estate, cryptocurrency. What are some of the things that you're guiding your clients with that are helping them maybe stay a little safer and a little more protected due to all this unsettled, this insecurity in the market right now, and all the risk that's taking place? I mean, the market was down 9% yesterday. It's up 8% today. It's the wild, wild west right now. But what are some things that you're doing to guide that conversation?
Yeah. So I'm big on diversity. I say it a lot on my social platforms. I talk a lot about conservative options, but I always preface with diversity is key, because I believe it is. I mean, you talk to anybody, they want you to have a well-balanced portfolio. I think that's smart, because if one engine's down, you need to have another engine or so or more that are going to be running during those times.
Of course.
If you're right. So I usually advise people to diversify and look at where they're at. And I always ask them, do you have anything that can give you growth more than sitting in your bank account, in your shoebox, in your mattress, but is also safe from market losses? And they say no, because no one is really aware of the few but crucial conservative options for their financial planning, their retirement planning. And those are going to be, the unique tax codes wrapped into products like cash value life insurance or annuities, specifically fixed index annuities, or multi-year guaranteed annuities. There's many of them, but I do think it's important. I don't think anybody should, no, I shouldn't say this, but typically if somebody comes to me and they're like, hey, I have $500,000 in my 401k, unless the situation warrants it and it seems like a good fit for the client and they say so, I usually will say, hey, let's look at what a couple $100,000 rolled into something safer like a fixed index annuity would look like, where you're going to get good growth. But when the market has a correction or crashes, if we slide into the recession that is anticipated to come, even though the stock market's up now, we won't go into that right yet, but we want them to have something that they're not losing the whole amount, right? So those are a couple of the products, but I know you're familiar with those as well. You've advised, thousands of people on these products. Like what is something you're telling your clients? Is that similar to kind of what you do
absolutely
with them as well?
Yes. So who we both look up to and admire, a guy named Tom Hegna, right? He's been in the industry for 40 years. Now he's an economist, and he's really, he really knows his stuff. And he says that if you compare the two, you compare a well-diversified portfolio without an annuity or some type of fixed income package built in, and you compare a portfolio that has some type of fixed income like an annuity or cash value life insurance, he says the one that has the annuity or cash value life insurance will far outperform the one that doesn't, because the one that doesn't has a gaping hole that when there is market volatility, like we're seeing just 72 hours ago, the market was down 6, 7, 8, 9%, right? When we're seeing that, people that have a small or maybe a majority allocation to some of the fixed products, right, the stronger, safer, secure products, aren't going to lose as much as the guys who have everything directly invested into the market without any protection whatsoever, right? So a well-diversified portfolio is always going to have some type of fixed product where there's a floor, there's a protection, there's preservation, and there's growth. And some of the annuities are slow growing, right? Maybe the annuities that our grandparents are used to, our parents are used to, they maybe had high fees and low rate of growth, right? But there's a new breed of annuities out there that have zero fees essentially coming from the client, but they also have growth opportunity. Now the growth is a little bit more conservative, maybe a 4 to 6% growth, but there's no risk whatsoever. There's no loss. And so when I deal with clients, when I meet with clients, my question is for them as well. What do you currently have going on? What do you like about what you currently have going on? What do you hate about what you currently have going on? And a lot of those answers are, well, I have a 401k, I have an IRA, I have a 529. I like them because on the good years, I can get really good growth, but I don't like them because on the bad years, I get really, no growth, or even I lose money inside of it. And I said, well, if you're losing money, is that a concern of yours? And the minute they say, well, yes, it's a concern of mine, that's my in to say, well, let me show you what we have to offer. Let me show you what some of the safer alternatives are, or the safer companions. I look at it almost as a companion, right? Because all your money shouldn't be in one asset class, right? It should be spread out across a few, right? But cash value life insurance and annuities is a way for you to guarantee protection. It's the only time we can say guarantee, right? We can't say guarantee on the growth, but we can say guarantee on the protection. It's going to protect your money in the event of some type of crazy market crash like we're experiencing right now. Trump is throwing a tariff war right now. Not a turf war. It's a tariff war, and people are terrified. Double pun right there, okay? No pun intended. Actually, there was a pun intended there, right? It's dad joke, right? I'm a dad.
Yeah,
so, what are your thoughts on the tariffs, man? Let's try to be a little unbiased, but what are some of your thoughts?
So I'll keep it really general because this is a very complicated situation, right? And a lot of people have very strong opinions. There's not a lot of people that are just indifferent. I will start with saying this: tariffs are not going to affect me. They may affect me, but I don't sweat it. I've set myself up into a situation in life where that's not going to make or break me. And I'm very blessed and very grateful for the opportunities I've had. So I don't really get overly invested in that.
Sure.
Even though I'm in the financial realm, I'm not freaking out, man. Unless I'm buying a car from overseas or some larger product, some foreign larger ticket items.
Why would you, man? Why would you? It's Ford all the way, bro. It's Ford all the way.
That's right.
Why would you buy a foreign car? Come on, what's wrong with you, bro?
I don't know, man.
Unless you're a Chevy guy, I don't know.
Infinity and Acura, man. I used to have a Ford. Okay, it just wasn't sexy enough. Okay, that's just how it was. But
I got you.
I think it's something that we're truly going to have to wait and see how it plays out. A lot of people are frustrated about it. It takes away from this globalism that we had before in the economy where we're relying on other people. But I think if people remove the idea of the financial side of it, which is the biggest side you think about, but right. I think the reason why these things are happening is more for a protection and preservation of the country. It brings manufacturing back in. It creates some boundaries, some walls around the country that is trying to reassert the leverage that the United States has, and it has maybe kind of slipped and given away. Because you look at times like during COVID when we were so reliant on foreign manufacturing to produce our goods. And if a crisis like that happens, then we're like, monkeys at the point. We don't know what to do with our hands, right? It's like we can't produce it because we've relied so heavily on other countries to provide that service for us because we have a great relationship. But when it hits the fan, we're a little bit insufficient at that point. Now that may be an inept idea or analysis on my end. Like I said, I don't get super involved in the tariffs right now. What I do know, whether you like him or not, some people say the complete opposite, but Trump, through all his ups and downs, I think he has been a successful businessman. I didn't say ethical. I don't know, right? A lot of people have their thing like he's bankrupt tons of companies. I'm like, all in all, the man is wealthy. He has lost net worth.
He's a billionaire. President. I mean, hello,
right.
Yeah.
So there's things he knows how to leverage. So I choose
Yeah.
just to trust, just like in other presidencies, I've just kind of put my head down and done for me and my family, and just said, well, I hope this shit works out. Watch my, pardon my language, but that's kind of how I
hear
felt.
you. I hear you. And I tend to agree with you about the tariffs, right? I did a video on this on TikTok earlier today, and just kind of a little bit of a rant and just some of my thoughts. By all means, I'm not an economist, tariff expert, right? I'm just a guy on the internet doing some research with ChatGPT for the most part, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to dive in and trying to go deep. Why, right? I'm trying to go deep and see what the reason is, what the thought behind it is, what the impact is going to have on my family, what the impact is going to have as a whole country, right? And from what I'm gathering and the research that I'm gathering is it's like a tool. Tariffs are like a tool that our government, President Trump, is using as leverage to say, hey, we're going to boost up the money, right? We're going to boost up that almost like that tax on goods, so that you have to come over here and manufacture your goods over here so that it benefits the American people, right? So I think it's like it's a leverage that he's using. I honest to God, don't believe he wants to tank the country or hurt Americans. I don't believe that. Maybe other people do. Yeah. I don't believe in my heart of hearts that's that's his true nature. Say what you want to say. That's just my opinion. We can agree to disagree. That's totally fine. But I believe he's using it as leverage. He's using it as like a pry bar into a conversation, so that people are going to come back and say, hey, I don't want you to put these tariffs on us, so let's come to an agreement, and then let's have a level playing field. It's going to hurt a little bit right now. The cost of goods may go up a little bit, right? We may feel the impact for the next 6 to 12 months, maybe, right? But I think when countries come back and they say, hey, maybe we've mistreated you, you've mistreated us, let's try to come to a fair deal, I think the prices of goods are going to come back down. Taxes are going to come back down. Inflation is going to come back down. And then we're going to kind of be smooth sailing for the next several years. That's what I think. That's my, I guess that's my cross finger analysis right there. Again, there's a lot of research to be done to be done on this subject. I'm still learning, but that's my best guess right now. It is a business tactic. It's a business tactic. It's a way for him to show power, strength, and that he's not going to buckle, and he just doesn't want to have a weak America. And so, maybe regardless if you don't like the guy or not, it doesn't really matter. This is the situation that we're in, right? And so we have to kind of just hope for the best, right? Prepare for the worst, tighten up your budget, right? Lower your expenses, pay some of your credit card debt down, get some of the high interest paid down as quickly as possible, right? Maybe stop eating out, a couple days a week, and put some of that money in your pocket. Maybe go buy coffee from the grocery store, get your egg sandwich from the grocery store instead of local. There's certain things you can do as a person to preserve your money rather than spending your money, so that you can lower your liability. When the cost of goods does go up, it's not necessarily going to affect you, like yourself. I know you're a very frugal guy, right? I'm not going to say cheap, because you like expensive things when it's necessary and when it's called for, but you're frugal in the way that you don't go out to eat every single day of the week or order takeout food every single day of the week. Now, when you want to go have a nice date with your wife, by all means, you go ahead and you lay it on. You're balling out, right? You're in Vegas. You have the opportunity to do that. But even in my life with my kids, I got 6 kids. We've started to pull back a little more. Hey, maybe we're not going to go to, Olive Garden this week after church, because we have some stuff that Dad's going to prepare at home. Let's go cook on the grill, right? Let's do things like that, right? So there's certain things that we can do to kind of lower our liability as a person here in America, so that it doesn't necessarily affect us, right?
Yeah.
I think it's going to affect the wealthier people a little bit more than us. That's just my opinion, because they like to live those extravagant lifestyles and buy the extravagant cars from overseas and stuff. That's where it's going to hit their pocket the most, right? I don't know, man. That's just my 2 cents.
Well, at what point do you stop trying to put the turd in a dress, and when do you stop trying to continue applying glue to a broken down house to keep it together, man. I think at some point in, like a home renovation, you just say, you know what, this is like a car. At some point, it just keeps having so many issues. You've put so much money, the economy, right? We've printed so much money. At what point do you just say, total this thing, trade it for free, or like give it away for free? Let's start something new, and it's going to have financial repercussions. I'm going to end up paying a car payment now. Again, just like we're experiencing market issues. Like, again, I'm not an expert in this area, but it seems like you kind of have to blow it up. Like you have to break it down to rebuild the foundation and make it strong again. And the dude only has 4 years to do this. And you think 4 years is a long time. I'm like, well, how long did other people waste 4 years? And look what nothing got done. And it just got worse, man. So 4 years can either be a lot of good or a lot of bad, but I think they have to have a mixture of both. It's got to get worse before it gets better.
The other analysis I heard about bringing the market to its knees is refinancing the debt that we owe as a country, right? We're up for a refinance pretty soon. And apparently the goal or the idea was bring the market to a screeching halt so that you can refinance the debt at a lower interest rate. That was the idea, right? Lower the interest rate so that, we don't have to pay the billions and billions of billions that we were going to have to pay if the interest rate was 7, 8, 9%, right? So that was one of the other thoughts or one of the other papers that I saw in my research that some of these economists and experts are talking about. That is one of the strategies as well, right? And I think, listen, the stock market, and again, I'm not an advisor, don't take this as financial advice. The stock market has been going up for 17, 18 years, man. If you know anything about the history of the stock market, it's cyclical. It goes up and down. It's like a circle. It goes up and down, up and down. And the typical market cycle, I think it's like 7 years. That's the typical market cycle where there's usually a correction, a good hefty correction. Some people call it recession. Some people call it, it could be worse than that, right? But it's typically 7 years. We have not seen that in the last almost 18 years, maybe even more at this point. And I will say this, 2020, when COVID hit and the market tanked, that was not the recession that was expected. In other words, erase COVID from the picture, there would have continued to been an upward curve without any interruption. If COVID never existed, the market would have never crashed. So that means COVID was an anomaly that nobody necessarily prepared for, that threw a wrench in the market and made it crumble. But if that was never there, that was not what's due. In other words, that was not what's to come. And so if there's still something expected to come.
Yeah, well, that's a good, that's also that's a prime example of a time where our domestic manufacturing was at a weak point because we had a lot of our masks and medical supplies being manufactured overseas. And so when COVID happened, there was a huge issue getting enough medical supplies, equipment, masks, like all the stuff that they told you now need to have. Couldn't get it in great enough quantities anyway because we didn't have any proficient domestic manufacturing. So that's just one of those times too.
I mean, that's just, and then we don't even get started on like semiconductors and stuff like that. Like everything that we use in our modern life right now, there's a semiconductor in it, right? And so mass manufacturing is done overseas. And so when we weren't getting those imports happening because of the semiconductors, we were at a point where we were about to be screwed. Like that can bring us to our knees as well. If we're relying on another country for the hardware that we need for our devices, that's an issue, right? So that's why I think NVIDIA there was a proposal or maybe that maybe they landed on that deal, but they're going to be building semiconductor manufacturing plant here. I forget what state it's in, but that's going to help America out. And that's, again, part of Trump's strategy is getting companies to say, screw it, I'm not going to pay the tariffs, right? I'm not going to pay the import fees or whatever they are, and I'm just going to build a plant here in the United States. And then what Trump is offering is zero tariffs, zero environmental, roadblocks. You'll be able to do anything you want. You'll be able to make money. You'll be a wealthy business owner, and you're going to help benefit the American people. I think that's a brilliant strategy. People get really pissed off on that stuff because it hurts them right now. People are short-sighted, Drew. They're short-sighted. When you have a pain in your tooth, you don't think about next week. You're not even thinking about the next day. You're thinking about, what the F? This is hurting me right now. Don't anybody talk to me otherwise, right? Let me just deal with this pain. And so right now people are feeling, maybe they're not even experiencing the pain, to be honest with you. They're probably not even experiencing it, but mentally they're experiencing it because of the unknown. They're kind of freaking out like, how is this going to affect my pocket? And whenever you deal with people's money, man, I've learned in the last 6 years of being in this business, whenever you deal with people's money, it is a freaking, it's attached to their emotions 120%. It's an emotional decision 100% of the time. There is not one person I've ever met that just doesn't make an emotional decision when it comes to money. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a great kind of segue into a really great topic that is just so deep. Depends on how deep you want to go into it. But I think, and again, people get offended, but the people that are getting offended, it's probably because they know it's true about them. And listen, like, I've been through a lot of stuff in my life. I came out on top, and I found out that the key to getting through that is accountability. So that's not for everybody. Not a lot of people like mirrors because they don't want to look back at themselves. But
accountability hurts, man.
It does. I don't like the toothache thing. I don't think it's that the tooth is causing the pain, man. I think it's something deeper. So I think, like, no matter what it is, I think people have a hard time identifying the true cause of that pain. They're looking at a limb. They're like, look at my finger. My finger's in pain. But really, they have a nerve issue way up in their shoulder or whatever it is. And that's kind of what happens a lot of times. So they're looking at this as like, this is the now for me. Like, this is the now. This hurts. My finger hurts. My wallet hurts. This is making my gas go up, my eggs go up, or whatever. And that's the only thing they can focus on.
Well, let's just pause there right now, because as a matter of fact, gas prices are going to come way down because gas settled under $60 a barrel, and egg prices are way down again. So that being said, eggs and gas are actually
I'm at Costco. I win every time, man. I'm at Costco. I don't care what people say. I get the discounted gas. I get 5% back on that gas with the Costco card, and my eggs are good, bro. I don't worry. I make decisions like that.
Gas prices and eggs are coming down, so hell to the let's go.
And then no one's going to eat eggs anyway. No one's going to eat the eggs anyway that is at a big enough quantity that it ever caused any problem.
Hey, listen, I got 6 kids. We go through a dozen. We go through a dozen of eggs every 2 to 3 days, man, and a gallon of milk. I need my own cow, and I need a whole pen of chickens out there. I was about to say roosters. They don't lay eggs, though. But no, but you need one. Yeah, before I interrupted you, you were talking about the root. People have it's not the tooth that hurts you, it's the root that's causing the pain. Maybe people's root is right now, they're freaking out right now because they're scared of being poor, broke, homeless, right? That's their fear, their insecurity. Right. It's not the tariffs that are causing that. It's the fear of, hey, what are the tariffs going to do to me and my house that's going to have to cause us to kind of clench our fists a little tighter and not live the life that we're living right now, right? You know, talk to me a little bit about that. What are some of your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. People are interesting, man. People are interesting creatures, and I think what the problem is there's a lot of self-imposed crisis in our lives. I think a lot of it is created by bad habits. And again, I know there are people with circumstances that are just out of their control and they have a bad hand dealt to them. But I always think that there's room for accountability, and I always think there's room for opportunity for sure. But I know there's people down and out that are affected, and it's just bad timing. But I think I really think you're talking about eating out, man. So it's funny because out here in Vegas, and this is everywhere too, but you will see somebody driving a G-Wagon and then they roll up to their apartment and they're renting an apartment. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's not that having an apartment is bad. It's just like where you choose to put your money. And I like a decent car, man. You've been in my car. It's not the best car in the world, but I liked it because it's important for how I show up and do my business. I need to drive a car that makes me feel confident and good, right? That's like the biggest liability I have in my life financially is that car. But I think it's a budgeting thing, man. Like my wife and she just had surgery the last week. She really wanted Chipotle, bro. We went to Chipotle for 2 adults. We didn't even get any for our 3 kids, bro. We just got it for the 2 adults. It was $52. 2 entrees with queso and chips and 1 fountain drink, $52.
Oh, I know.
So those are the decisions that compound over
when
the
I go
course of a
out
month.
when I
You've got
go out to a
spreadsheet,
fast
so
food
it's
restaurant
funny.
with my kids, it's $100 a pop every time I go out, right? We don't
Dude.
need McDonald's.
Yeah.
We don't do stuff like that. But like if we go to like Chipotle or we go to like Chick-fil-A, for instance, we went to Chick-fil-A today. It's like $75, $100 to feed all 5, 6, 7 of us, right? The cost of goods are going up, right? It's crazy right now.
Right.
So like we're maybe not able to live that life that we lived a year ago or 6 months ago when things were really good, right? We're kind of have to just kind of renegotiate with ourselves, renegotiate mentally, renegotiate with our family and say, hey, for a limited time, we might have to just kind of pull back just a little bit and just maybe enjoy some different things in a different way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, and I like to create habits, whether things are good or bad. I try to keep the same core habits with little occasional spurts. So like, I think budgeting is a big thing people need to get on top of. I think that would allow them to allocate more money into investments, whether they're securities or safe, high yield save. They can put more into savings, like high yield savings, something like that, so that they have more comfortability when these times come. But also back to the whole topic of retirement, it's like a lot of people, because there's just a lot of, you can help a lot of people, but you just want to help everybody, right? Everybody you have a conversation with, you want to help them maximize their financial situation. And there's just so many people that will just block you off and say, listen, like either I've accrued a lot of debt or I just don't have any extra money. But then through your discovery calls, you're finding out how much they're paying for rent or what kind of car they drive, or that they have the newest phone that they're on the Zoom with you on, or whatever it is. It's like, you just look at that stuff and you're like, so it's really a priorities thing. I get it. But dude, like for you, right? You've been very successful, done really well, but you have 6 kids, man. Like, and another colleague of ours has 7, so there's a lot of people with baggage that can still pull through. And I think budgeting is just such a big thing in prioritizing. So my wife and I were very big on, here's what's important to us. Here's where we want to go. Here's how long we want to work. This is what we want to do when we retire. Here's what we want to help our kids out and what we want them to do on their own. And then we base our life decisions around that. Like, we don't eat out, but if we do go out, we ball out. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Big dinners, like anything. Like I want all the stuff, man. I want the oysters. I want the mushrooms. I want all the stuff. Like, and then what else? What do you have? Like, I'll have all 6 things. And what do you have? And then when we go on vacations, we don't travel and do a lot of irresponsible spending. But when we go on vacations, man, it is incredible memories that we make. We just don't do them every month or every 3 months.
Sure.
There's people that go, like, it was some statistics, like, what was it, like 60% or 70% of people that vacation and go to like Disney, they end up going into debt because of that trip. It's like,
of course, yeah.
What are your kids going to remember more, dude? Right. Like the fights at home because you can't pay your bills, mom and dad are fighting, or that one time you got the Mickey Mouse ears and that was cool, but you forgot because now your parents can't afford to put food on the table. I don't know. So
I get it. Yeah.
Anyway, that's a whole separate thing. But
as we wrap up, what are some strategies that you're talking with some of your clients, maybe in the last couple of weeks? Give me a case study or two of some people that you've helped maybe reallocate some of their money, protect it, preserve it, maybe grow it in a little few places here and there. Just give me a little quick summary of what you've dealt with in your line of work right now.
Sure, absolutely. We get going down some crazy rabbit holes, but it's good
for sure.
So
we can do that all night. Trust me.
Hey man, another time we'll do it. There's been a lot of people that have come to me with like old 401k funds. They're not sure what to do. And we talk about rolling them into fixed index annuities if it's a good fit. And there's so many different companies and a lot of different products with different factors in those annuities, depending on when they need it. So we've rolled them over. We've protected that money. We're giving them safe and, anticipated growth. And they're also getting guaranteed retirement income for life. So they're taking away the number one fear of retirees, which is I'm going to outlive my money. And they may have another retirement account, like a current 401k or a Roth or a TSP or a pension, people that are lucky enough to have gotten into pensions, right? So they can utilize that for their paychecks, but now their annuity becomes what they use for play checks. And that's another Tom Hegna term that he brings up, because you can't just retire and huddle up in your house. You want to be able to join the country club, buy the boat, travel to Europe, buy stuff for your kids or your grandkids, get the vacation home, get that Harley Davidson you always wanted, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that's been really cool. I've also texted those clients too, Mark, and like the clients that I've already had for some time now. And I said, hey, based on the market, you would have lost X amount based on the money we have in their annuity, but you've kept that rock solid safe in the annuity.
And we're not talking a couple $1,000s. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and they were just profusely thanking me, and they were saying, Andrew, I'm so glad you texted me, man. The first thing I saw when I opened up the Yahoo Finance this morning, I just thought of my annuity, and I'm just so blessed to have had that conversation with you. Like I said, not putting all their eggs in there, but they're happy because they have some sort of safety and they don't have to worry about it. And then other people, I've been protecting numerous people over the last couple of weeks. Or what is this month been? A week. So this month we'll just focus on this month. We've set up multiple accounts for kids where the parents want to set something up for their kids so their kids can use it for college, down payment on the first house, first car, save it up for retirement. They can use it in a very versatile way. And those are really great products that we do that are not variable. So they're not like 529s where they can lose money as well. And then, of course, life insurance, man. I think that's such a taboo phrase or a couple of words, is because everyone thinks, oh, life insurance. But life insurance is so crucial, especially for guys like you and me. I mean, if you're a provider and anybody in your life relies on you for income to keep their quality of life okay, it is your responsibility, if able, to have some sort of protection. It can be permanent, it can be term, whatever it might be. That's got to be the foundation, man. And I tell people that all of the time. I mean, dude, just think about this. That one meal at Chipotle, $52. For somebody in my age range, I could have $1 million or probably $1.25 million in life insurance coverage for that per month. Yeah. So if I just made that one decision, don't go to McDonald's, don't go to Chipotle, one time a month, I can make sure that my spouse, my kids are taken care of if I die unexpectedly. So like I said, decisions and options, man.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree with you 100%. We help people realize that they need to protect their assets. And if you don't have life insurance, guys, get in touch with Andrew, get in touch with myself, reach out to us, get a term policy at the very least. Guys, term and then invest the difference. If that's what you want to do and that floats your boat, by all means, we can help put you in a nice, cheap, inexpensive term with a lot of coverage, and you can have your heart's desire and go invest in anything else that you want. But if you lack financial discipline, you lack financial literacy, and you don't want to deal with investments, you have an alternative inside of an IUL, Indexed Universal Life Insurance, where you can save, grow, and protect your money all in the same thing. It's called a permanent life insurance policy. So you got term, which is for temporary, doesn't grow any cash or equity. And then you have permanent, which is like the IULs and the whole life, where you can put a little bit more money in. A portion goes to pay the cost of insurance, and then the rest goes into an account, kind of like a savings account on steroids, that's going to grow and compound and be protected from any market volatility. If that's something that you're interested in, guys, reach out to myself. Let's set up a free financial strategy call. Reach out to Drew. You can find him. Where can they find you, Drew? What are your social media handles?
Yeah, you can go on Facebook. It's Andrew Cubitt. And then my bigger ones that I post more and interact more is Instagram and TikTok. That's cash_growth_coach. You'll see a nice profile, like side profile picture of me doing this in a suit. I use that for everything because I peaked at that point in my life. So that's where you can find me. I post a lot of content. I respond right away. So I'm always happy, even if they're not interested, just to educate. I do a lot of free consultations, and I chat with people all day long, every day. So
awesome. Yeah, same for me. You can find me at Mark Cassara on most social media platforms. Got 900,000 on Facebook, 600,000 on TikTok. Algorithms messing with me, so I'm a little plateaued right now. I haven't hit that $1 million mark on Facebook yet, but that's the goal over the next couple months, is to increase my exposure, get the words out there, educate middle-class America. If all I do was educate you so that you make a better and more well-informed decision working with somebody else, and I've done my job. Of course, The whipped cream on top and the cherry would be you working with me directly so that I can have the benefit and the honor of helping you secure your money, protect it, preserve it, grow it, and be able to leverage it whenever you want to. That'd be my honor as well. And I know that goes the same for Drew. Drew, it's been a pleasure talking to you, man. I appreciate the banter back and forth. I look forward to doing this a little more with you and going live on TikTok. Now that you've gone 30 minutes on TikTok, I think you'll be able to do a co-host deal so we can kind of jump on there as well. But with that being said, guys, thanks so much for watching us. Comment and let us know what questions you have. If you're watching this live, put a hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. And we'll see you all in the next live. Good night. God bless. Stay safe out there and keep your money protected. Peace. All right, guys, take it easy.